Hi, Andy here, and I have a finished project. This is the Alpaca My Shawl. Woo! This is a DK weight alpaca shawl. It's free pattern on Ravelry. It takes 3 colors, but you can substitute as many colors as you want. I suggest at least 2. The main color is the white color, and I call for 400 yards of that. The contrast color one I have is a dark gray, which is right here. That again, a 200 yard skein, and the medium fawn, another 200 yard skein. I did have a lot left over, so you definitely can make this longer. You can add more rows to it, or you can add fringe. The reason that I called for 200 yards or 400 yards of the main color is because most small fiber mills and most small farms get their yarn processed in 200 yard skeins. So I did 200 yards, 200 yards, 200 yards. Just so, like, if you went to a small fiber mill, or you're at a festival and you get 3 or 4 skeins, it'll be enough to make the shawl. You will have enough left over. You probably make a matching hat. I definitely won't run short, but in case you make any mistakes, and which I did here. I put an extra row in this one. See, extra row fawn. But for simplicity's sake, I went with the 200 yard skeins, I figured, because that's usually what you would pick up. So if you have some hand spun and it's a little less than 200 yards, well, for the contrast color 1, contrast color 2, you'll be fine. And it's really easy to just replace colors. Super simple shawl, super simple pattern. The purpose of this pattern is just to have something simple to make with yarn that you found and you fell in love with, that maybe came from a small fiber mill, or maybe some hand spun, or you've never made a shawl and you wanted to make a shawl. This is a very, very simple beginner pattern. It has worked back and forth on, I made it on 24-inch circular needles, but you could use a 32-inch. I just happen to have a 24-inch handy, so that's what I used. So what you do is you start at the top here and you make increases down the spine stitches and along the edge. So on every right side row, you're going to knit 2, yarn over, you knit to the center marker, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit to the end. Well, knit to 2 stitches before the end, yarn over, knit 2. And on the back, you knit 2, purl to the last 2 stitches, and then knit 2. So there's a 2-stitch garter ridge that goes all along the edge. I carried my yarn up the back. You basically, after I did the first knit 2, I would switch it around the yarn, the not working yarn, then carried it so it traveled up along the back. So you don't have to knit to the end of the row and then cut your yarn and then have all those ends to weave in. You can see here that I just carried the yarn up along the back. So this is the wrong side, so it's carried in right here along that. So I'll knit 2, and then I just twisted the yarn behind and carried it up. Now anytime I got to a section, obviously I didn't carry the medium fawn up into this section. I did cut it. I carried it along here. I cut the contrast color 2, which was this dark gray, after the end of this row here. And then the white continued through. I put on the medium fawn. So really there weren't that many ends to weave in. If you're not comfortable doing that, if you don't know how to do that and you just want to cut it, go right ahead. You'll practice weaving it. Okay, so this shawl is knit top down. Increases are all done on the right side. Back side, you knit 2, purl across, purl the last 2. Same pattern goes all the way through. I included a modified chart. This chart does not really show the pattern. It doesn't show where you're making your increases. What this modified chart shows is the colors. So it tells you per row what color you should be working on. And then I did put a knit, and I did put a purl symbol in. The reason for that was just to help you be able to look at it and know that was the wrong side. That's the row you'll be purling on. Then I included the stitch count. So the one column has the total number of rows. The other column has the total number of stitches. On the bottom, you'll see I did put a couple places where it says 50 plus 1 plus 50. If you don't like counting all the stitches across the row, it basically means you have 50 stitches till the marker. Then you have the 1 stitch in the middle, and then you 50 stitches on the other. So instead of saying 100, if you don't want to count to 101, if you just count from here to your marker and you have 50 stitches, you know that you're on track and you have the right amount of stitches. So it's just a shortcut. I know some people really like to have the stitch count all the way across, so I included that in there so you know where you are at. Like I said, I left plenty of yardage in this pattern, so if you make an extra row, you should be fine. You should not run out of yarn. That was one of the reasons I put the amount of yardage that I did in there, and I don't want people to think they have to buy an extra skein. I don't want people to think they have to buy an extra skein to complete this project. The amount of yarn I put in there is very generous, to say. But like I said, if you want to put fringe on, then you'll probably use up all the yarn that is called for. I think that's it. So once you've done knitting it, you're going to soak it, you're going to wash it, make sure everything's nice and clean. You're going to rinse out any of the fiber wash that you use, and you're going to lay it out and using blocking wires and T-pins. I have my blocking wires back there. You use blocking wires, stretch it as far as it will go, let it dry, and when it's dry, take it off, wear it. Take some pictures, put it on Ravelry, share on Instagram, tag me in, I want to see it. I want to see all the yarns that you're using. I hope you enjoy this pattern. I made this video so hopefully you'll answer any questions that you have about the chart. Feel free to comment below if you have any further questions. Really, this should be pretty straightforward. It's a very simple pattern. I used all DK weight yarn for this. I used 3 colors. Again, you can use as many colors as you want. It's a loose gauge, so I would recommend if you don't have a 7, maybe go to an 8. You really don't want it to be a tight, it doesn't need to be tight, just a loose, drapey fabric. And again, like I said, I included plenty of yardage, that you should be totally fine. And I think that's it. I hope you enjoy it. The pattern's pretty straightforward. I put a little picture on the front. And then I have your tools, and then I have, yeah, top down, and oh, this is a written color chart. I wrote out the colors in case you're like me and only have a black and white printer, and you might be like, is that the main color, contrast color? Well, contrast color 1 and contrast color 2. So it is written out, and then if you wanted to replace any of the colors, you could mark it there. And then there's a schematic. That's what it looks like. And yeah, there's a modified chart. I already showed that. So I hope you enjoy working on this pattern. Please share it on Ravelry. I want to see them. I hope you enjoy. Bye.